These are true stories of the dark web. This is Secure Byte News. Learn from these stories to elevate your online security culture. Story 1. March 2009. Digital files on presidential helicopter found in Iran. In March 2009, documents detailing an upgrade to Marine One, the presidential helicopter, were inadvertently leaked through a peer-to-peer music-sharing network. These computer files, which included plans for one of the Marine helicopters used by President Obama, were discovered on a file server in Iran on February 25, 2009. Taversa Inc., a Pennsylvania-based company that scans file-sharing networks for government and corporate clients, first identified the plans for the VH-60N Marine One helicopter on peer-to-peer networks in the fall of 2008, according to Keith Tagliaferri, Taversa's operations director. Peer-to-peer networks such as LimeWire are primarily used to share music files, but they can also expose other files stored on a computer. Upon discovering the leak in 2008, Taversa notified the contractor responsible for the security breach and informed the U.S. Department of Defense that the files had been compromised. The same documents were later found on a file server in Tehran on February 25, 2009, prompting Taversa to alert both the Pentagon and the White House. Tagliaferri declined to name the contractor responsible for the leak. However, a report from Fox News Channel 11 in Pittsburgh, which broke the story on February 28, indicated that the files were part of the VH-60N cockpit upgrade program, a contract awarded to Rockwell Collins by the Naval Air Systems Command in March 2004. According to the Fox affiliate, the VH-60N files contained information about the helicopter's missile warning and countermeasure systems. The breach was likely caused by an employee who downloaded a peer-to-peer program onto a computer containing the Marine One files, thereby exposing all the computer's files to the network. Tagliaferri stated that the contractor responsible for the leak was based in Bethesda, Maryland. Lockheed Martin, which was developing a new presidential helicopter called the VH-71, confirmed that Taversa had contacted them, stating that Lockheed Martin was not the source of the breach and that it did not involve the VH-71 program. Meanwhile, Sikorsky, the prime contractor for the VH-60N based in Stratford, Connecticut, conducted its own investigation but declined to comment, according to company spokesman Paul Jackson. Rockwell Collins, based in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, also investigated the data leak but did not provide details, said spokeswoman Pam Tverdy. The federal government has faced numerous breaches due to peer-to-peer programs. In June 2008, for example, the health records and social security numbers of over 1,000 patients from Walter Reed Army Medical Center were compromised. Congress held hearings on the issue, including one in July 2007, where the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform learned that military files, including classified documents, were easily accessible on popular peer-to-peer networks. In February, a Dartmouth College researcher reported finding tens of thousands of medical files containing names, addresses, and social security numbers for patients with various conditions exposed on these networks. Since 2005, the U.S. Navy has banned the unauthorized use of peer-to-peer clients, citing risks such as unauthorized access to information, network configuration compromises, and denial of service attacks. The ban applies to both uniformed and civilian personnel, as well as contractors. "We examine 100,000 files a day," said Tagliaferri, noting that the company frequently finds documents more sensitive than the Marine One upgrade blueprints. Such documents, he added, pose threats to national security. Story 2. May 2009, Merrick Bank seeks $16 million for hacking. In May 2009, Merrick Bank, a prominent credit card issuer, reported a $16 million loss after hackers compromised up to 40 million credit card accounts. The bank alleged that Savis, an information technology firm, mistakenly assured it that Card System Solutions, its processor, was compliant with Visa and MasterCard security standards. Merrick Bank, which serves as an acquiring bank for 125,000 merchants, had agreed to work with Card System Solutions to provide processing and independent sales organization services, contingent upon meeting these security standards, according to a federal complaint filed by the bank. Card Systems submitted an approval request to solicit merchants to contract with acquiring banks and provide maintenance and servicing to those merchants, granting access to all cardholder account information. To facilitate this, Card Systems enlisted Savis to assess and certify its compliance with credit card security regulations, enabling it to work with Merrick. Savis determined that Card Systems security processes met the necessary standards, leading Merrick to hire them, as stated in the complaint. However, less than a year after Card Systems began working with Merrick, its computer systems were hacked, resulting in the compromise of millions of credit card account numbers. According to Merrick, the hackers accessed the data because Card Systems stored unencrypted card information on its servers, violating security standards that Savis had certified. The breach cost Merrick $16 million in reimbursements to affected banks, payments to Visa and MasterCard for using a non-compliant processor, and legal fees, according to the complaint. Merrick Bank was represented by Joseph P. White of Hale, Royster & Volker, based in Edwardsville, Illinois. Story 3. May 13, 2009, the Homeland Security Information Network, HSIN, was hacked. In May 2009, the Department of Homeland Security's platform for sharing sensitive but unclassified information with state and local authorities was compromised. The breach of the Homeland Security Information Network, HSIN, was confirmed by Harry McDavid, the Chief Information Officer for DHS's Office of Operations Coordination and Planning, to Federal Computer Week. The Computer Emergency Readiness Team had reported the intrusion in late March 2009. The initial hack was brief and contained, but it was followed by a more significant breach in early April 2009. The attacker or attackers accessed the system by exploiting the HSIN account of a federal employee or contractor. While most of the data accessed was federal, some state information was also involved. The data owners and Congress were informed of the breach. The files accessed included administrative details such as telephone numbers and email addresses of state and federal employees. However, the investigation revealed that no Social Security numbers, driver's license numbers, or financial data were compromised. An HSIN official stated that because HSIN is a sensitive but unclassified network, the accessed information could only cause minimal harm to the Homeland Security mission and did not involve operational details of federal or state agencies using HSIN. HSIN officials noted that they were unaware of any other successful breaches of the platform. The tactics used for the breach were very sophisticated, but the amount of data accessed was relatively minor, and officials were able to precisely determine which files were involved. In response to the breach, HSIN implemented a series of mitigation measures, including the introduction of two-factor authentication on certain accounts to prevent similar intrusions in the future. Ongoing upgrades to HSIN, including a $62 million contract awarded in May 2008 for the HSIN Next Gen platform, are aimed at improving user needs and security. The DHS investigation found no residual malicious code or applications left behind, and determined that no HSIN users were responsible for the breach. Story 4. August 2009, The Analyzer, pleads guilty in New York. Computer hacker Ehud Tenenbaum admits to stealing $10 million from U.S. banks by hacking computers. Ehud Tenenbaum, also known as The Analyzer, pleaded guilty in a New York court last week to a single count of bank card fraud in which, according to federal officials, some $10 million were stolen from U.S. banks by computer hacking, Wired reported. Tenenbaum, 29, earned his nickname when he, several other Israelis, and 2 California teens hacked the U.S. Pentagon's computers in 1998. He was 19 at the time. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who was halfway through his first term when Tenenbaum was arrested, said he was damn good but very dangerous too. This time, Tenenbaum was extradited to the U.S. from Canada, after Canada arrested him for allegedly stealing about $1.5 million from Canadian banks. Prosecutors alleged in an extradition affidavit that Tenenbaum hacked into 2 U.S. banks, a credit and debit card distribution company, and a payment processor, in what they called a global cash-out conspiracy. But he was only charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit access device fraud and 1 count of access device fraud. His sentence was announced on November 19, 2009, and he faced a maximum of 15 years in prison. Prosecutors declined to comment on the case or describe the details of his plea agreement. The second count in the indictment, charging conspiracy, appears to have been dropped. Story 5, November 2009, UN climate chief hacked emails were part of a planned and well-funded operation. The UN's Climate Science Division has revealed that the ClimateGate scandal was orchestrated by a well-coordinated plan, suggesting the hackers were likely paid professionals. Jean-Pascal Van Iepersel, vice chair of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, stated that the email theft from the University of East Anglia's Climatic Research Unit was not executed by amateur climate skeptics. Iepersel believes that the hacking was carried out by a sophisticated, well-funded group aiming to undermine public trust in climate science. He noted that the initial upload of the emails to a dubious Russian website indicates the involvement of paid operatives, as Russian hackers are frequently compensated for their services. The meticulous selection of emails and documents from 13 years of data, rather than a random collection, further supports the notion that the perpetrators were professionals. In response to the breach, IPCC Chairman Dr. Rajendra Pachauri emphasized that the issue could not be ignored and announced an independent investigation by the IPCC to review and assess the situation. Story 6, December 2009. Iraqi insurgents hack U.S. drones with $26 software. In December 2009, Iraqi militants used $26 off-the-shelf software to intercept sensitive video feeds from U.S. Predator drones, leaving most military aircraft feeds vulnerable to similar attacks, according to reports. Insurgents supported by Iran regularly accessed unencrypted video feeds from these unmanned planes, which the Obama administration increasingly depended on for monitoring and targeting militants. The insurgents then distributed the footage to various extremist groups, as reported by the Wall Street Journal. The U.S. military later confirmed that the issue was quickly addressed. The security breach was discovered in late 2008 when U.S. military personnel in Iraq arrested a Shiite militant with a laptop containing intercepted drone video feeds. By July 2009, additional feeds were found on other militant laptops, suggesting that Iran-linked groups were frequently tapping into the drone's unprotected communications link. According to the Wall Street Journal, the military found extensive evidence that the feeds were being intercepted and shared among several militant groups. The network connecting the drones to operators in the US, Afghanistan, or Pakistan was over a decade old, and many of its components were scheduled for upgrades to prevent such interceptions. Militants accessed the feeds using SkyGrabber, a $26 public program designed for downloading movies and music from satellites. Wired.com later reported that the U.S. military's primary system for sharing overhead surveillance with ground troops, known as Rover, was also vulnerable to interception with SkyGrabber. The system was installed on nearly every American aircraft. Military officials worked to address the security flaw, though one noted that fixing the problem was complex due to the widespread use of Rover downlinks on fighter, bomber, and ISR platforms. U.S. officials indicated there was no evidence that militants had taken control of the drones, but the interception posed significant risks by potentially giving enemies tactical advantages. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, like, and comment for more cybersecurity stories.